In the world of high-stakes strategy, success is defined by how we collaborate. The architect of agreement, the global leader in negotiation, creator of smartnership. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage.
This is the moment! This is the stage! Smartnership in action! Nego-economics at work! Value, trust, results! Changing the game of negotiation! Global guru, author, professor! This is the moment!
Moment!
This is the stage!
Stage!
Smartnership in action! Nego-economics at work! Value, trust, results!
Value, trust, results! In the world of high-stakes strategy, success is how we collaborate. The architect of agreement, changing the game of negotiation.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
The speaker,
Dr. Keld Jensen! This is the moment! This is the stage! Smartnership in action! We're changing the game! Value, trust, results! Dr. Keld Jensen!
Good afternoon, everybody. I was just looking at my calendar. This is the 21st year that I've been in Vilnius in Lithuania every single year for 21 years. Isn't that amazing? It's just a beautiful place. I love it. Thank you, guys. Anyway, I have to start off by saying I'm slightly embarrassed. And I'm embarrassed because I created a career on helping governments and corporations improving their negotiation through honesty, collaboration, transparency, and value creation. And I'm embarrassed because there's a huge demand for my services. And there shouldn't be, because everything I'm talking about is so obvious. Now, I'm going to share some of that with you today, because my latest research that we started in 2019 is focused on the use of AI in negotiation. That's my topic today. And I have to start off by provoking all of you a tiny bit, because we have a huge problem. And the problem is that right now, hundreds of millions of people around the world are using AI to be more efficient in negotiating the wrong way. Did you get that? Because AI will make bad negotiator doing horrible bad deals, but it will also help good negotiator becomes way better. So AI will amplify stupidity among human beings in negotiation. So let's take a step back before anything else and agree on something. We have to change the mindset of what negotiation is and isn't. Now, I've been listening to everybody here today, and there have been a lot of great lectures. Let me just say that. There's been a lot of great content. But not only here, but out there in the world, there's a lot of opinions about negotiations. And in the world, you have opinions and research facts. And opinions can be great, because they're based on people's experience. But what may be an opinion from you and your experience may not work for the rest of our 1,000 people in here. It have worked for you, but it may not work for you. So opinions doesn't really work. It have to be based on research fact. Think about it this way. If you're going to cross a huge bridge, would you be comfortable knowing that the people who built the bridge built it on opinions? Or would you be more comfortable knowing that they built it on facts that was researched? I would go with the latter one. And the same thing goes when we talk about negotiation and the use of AI in negotiation. So what I'm going to start off today is asking you a question, and that is, why do we commercially negotiate? For only one reason, and that is to create and distribute value. I repeat, to create and distribute value. There's no other reason two organizations in the history of mankind have been negotiating. That is the only reason. And by having said that, then I want to add something else. Negotiation is not a theater. It's a deal architecture. And I'm saying that it's not a theater because there's so much fluff and bluff out there that you have to use tactics and you have to manipulate. And there's something called the Russian front, and you have to lie and you have to bluff and you have to do whatever you can to manipulate the counterpart. I apologize for my language, but that's a bunch of bullshit. Negotiation is about making 2 + 2 equal more than 4. That's why I call it a deal architecture. And AI can help us do that incredibly well. So look at AI as a GPS. It's great. It can take you somewhere really fast. The problem is it may be the wrong place it's taking you if you don't know where you want to go. And there's been a lot of study in human psychology. And I really loved the presentation by Keld earlier today because it was really interesting looking a brief, tiny view into human psychology, right? Because if I just compared what he said to the Arch conformity experiments, which is very important in understanding human psychology. Imagine you, ma'am, you've been invited into my laboratory. You are a research guinea pig. And you don't know that the 19 other people sitting in there are hired actors that has all been instructed to say the following. The bar to the left is identical in height to A. Now, I think we can all agree that's not the case, right? We can all see that the bar to the left is more or less equal to bar B, right? This is a research that has been conducted thousands of times around the world. And every single time, the same output happens. When I go through 19 people before you and ask them, the bar to the left, what is the height equal to? And those 19 says A, A, A. Now I arrive at you as number 20, who is the guinea pig, who don't know the other 19 people are hired actor, and you're sitting there thinking, there's something completely wrong with those 19 people, because obviously it is B. But you know what happens in about 82% of the cases? The person says A. Now, you know those game shows on TV where you answer the question wrong and that sound comes on? That sound should come on among human beings right there. Because it shows that we conform. We do what everybody else is doing, even though we can sit there being intelligent and recognize this is wrong. Imagine, guys, since 1776, and I'm getting back to that year in a moment, we have been negotiating the wrong way. Because majority have been doing it that way, everybody else is looking at it and thinking, oh, I guess that's the way we should negotiate. That's a load of bullshit. Again, I apologize for my language, because it's the wrong way we are negotiating. So look at it this way. It is better to walk alone than walk with a crowd that is going in the wrong direction. And majority of people around the world is going in the wrong direction when we talk about negotiation. Now, let me just stress, I'm a huge fan of AI if we know how to use it and we are qualified negotiators. Because AI won't replace negotiators, but negotiators using AI will. Okay? So the train has left the station already, guys. If you're not into AI in negotiation right now, you have to run really fast because the train is out there. You are late to the train already. And as I just pointed out, what you will see here, obviously, is bad negotiator. As I just said, using AI will simply become bad faster. Okay? So, hundreds of thousands of negotiations are being wasted during just today around the world. And what do I mean by a wasted negotiation? Let me explain that to you very quickly. Imagine you are sitting in a negotiation with a counterpart, and after 3 hours, you identify that's impossible to reach an agreement with the counterpart. You know, we can't reach an agreement for whatever reason. You walk away, they walk away. But we know from research that in 1/3 of all these cases where you think you couldn't have reached an agreement with the counterpart, it would have been better for you and the counterpart to reach an agreement. So obviously that's a wasted negotiation, because it would have been better for you and the counterpart to reach an agreement. But what is even worse, ladies and gentlemen, again, backed in research, is that we know that up to 42% of the value in a negotiation are leaving the negotiation table, like I'm dropping this book, without neither the one side or the counterpart realizes that value of up to 42%. Now, the great news, ladies and gentlemen, is that AI can help you capture that value better than ever before. This is a promise from me to you, by the way. There is an unutilized value in all of your negotiation. Promise. Now, I can't guarantee it's 42%. It could be 16% in your negotiation. It could be 28% in your negotiation. It could be 19% in your negotiation. It varies from industry to industry and business to business. But there is an unused, uncapitalized value that we need to capture and address. Now, you're not going to find that value if you don't negotiate the right way. Quick question, guys, and I want you to be honest. How many of you are eating fast food once in a while? Oh, we have some honest people in here. I have to admit I'm doing that as well. It may not be the healthiest things, but it tastes really good. Well, so imagine that you, ma'am, you walk into your favorite fast food restaurant, whatever that might be. You order a burger, and you pick up the packaging. You go to your table, sit down, unwrap the packaging, and then you suddenly realize that the burger looks like this. A complete stranger in the kitchen took a bite of your burger. How would you react to that? Would you be sitting there thinking, oh, well, I think that's reasonable. A complete stranger I don't know just took a bite of my food. No worries, he was probably hungry. Would you react that way? No, of course not. You would be sitting there feeling disgusted. Like, how rude. Some complete stranger in the kitchen took a bite of my food. You would go to the counter and complain. You would want a refund. You would get compensation. You might never want to go back to that restaurant again. So my provoking question to all of you guys is, why would we never accept somebody's taking a bite of our burger, but every time you're sitting in a commercial negotiation, somebody's eating up to 42% of the value in that negotiation? That's horrible, isn't it? Where's all this coming from? Back to 1776. In 1776, we had a Scottish philosopher by the name of Adam Smith. He wrote the Bible of the capitalistic system. That's what it's called, The Wealth of Nations. That's a very important book. It's even been used today if you study economics at a very high level. Now, I don't know if any of you have been reading this book. Could you raise your hand if anybody read the book in here? Yeah, we actually have a couple of people. Now, I can tell you two things about the book. The first thing is, it's really boring, okay? Because there's no graphics in it, there's no pictures, there's no nothing. It is written in old-fashioned English from 1776, and it's really thick. Now, that's not the worst part about this book. The worst part about this book is that it's absolutely wrong in all its conclusions. How about that? This is considered the Bible of the capitalistic system. And I'm standing here in April 2026 and claiming that the conclusion in this book is absolutely wrong. Now, this book was written based on scarcity, that there wasn't enough for everybody. Now, I'm not the only one who's been criticizing this book. People way brighter than me have been doing way before me. And one of them is the very famous American Dr. Nash. Dr. Nash was a genius, without any doubt, and Hollywood actually found him so interesting, so they produced a movie about him called The Beautiful Mind, where Russell Crowe was playing Nash. Now, Nash was one of these intelligent geniuses that is crazy as well. You know, when you reach really high on that IQ scale, you become slightly crazy. So that was him. He was absolutely slightly crazy as well, but a genius. He is the founder, by the way, of game theory, which is very important for the understanding of negotiation. And he came out all the way back in the 60s and said Adam Smith was wrong. Because Adam Smith in The Wealth of Nations said the best result will come from everybody in the group is doing what is best for themselves. Purely egocentric behavior. You should only do what is good for you and don't care about the counterpart. Now, Dr. Nash was not a socialist, he was a mathematician. And he did the math and figured out that is stupid from a financial point of view. You will actually get wealthier if you think this way, that the best result will come from everyone in the group doing what is good for himself and the group at the same time. That's the only way we all win. I just heard the wonderful Madam President talk about 20 minutes ago that warfare is stupidity. I could not agree more. Unfortunately, commercial companies negotiate this way, just like warfare. It's a zero-sum game. If I want to win $100, you have to pay for it. If you want to win $100, I have to pay for it. My success can only happen at the expense of the counterpart. Stupid? Because it doesn't have to be that way, and we are not getting wealthier by doing this. Now, some people call this win-lose. I completely agree with Madam President. It's a lose-lose situation. Who the heck is winning a war? Now, somebody claims they're winning a war, but nobody's really winning a war. And by the way, have you ever thought about why we have wars? Because negotiation failed. And I can also promise you, every single war throughout history of mankind have ended with a negotiation. So why not just eliminate that waste of human life and resources in the middle and become better at the negotiation table? Unfortunately, that's how many people still negotiate in 2026. Now, AI is not going to make this worse. It's actually just going to expose it, because we can use AI really efficiently, and I'm going to show you that in a second, to improve that whole behavior. So, if we talk about strategy, and we have to pick a strategy how we want to negotiate, we can pick a zero-sum, that is the warfare. We can go into partnership, that is more collaborative, but still, we are often missing out on trust, transparency, openness, and we don't understand how we want to negotiate. So in my world, we have created what we call smartnership. We could also have called it partnership version 2.0. We call it smartnership. And look what happens here. Now the soldiers are pointing their rifle outwards. That means that I can win $100, not at your expense, and you can win $100, not at my expense. And there are 4 things, guys, that you need to embrace in order to be successful in doing that. And you are very welcome to take a photo of this slide, because this is a slide that is based on basically 50 years of research. So it tells you clearly what organizations are doing that are more successful than those who are less successful. 1, they have a very clear negotiation strategy, either zero-sum, partnership, or smartnership. They work with trust. Michael pointed out trust when we started off this day. Trust currency. Trust is a monetary value. I did my doctorate studying negotiation and trust and AI. And negotiation where you have a high level of trust capitalize up to 34% more value than in negotiation where trust is low. So trust is not a nice thing to have, it's a need thing to have, because you get wealthier. Number 3, you have to negotiate on how to negotiate. I heard everybody today talking about how we should negotiate, the tools in the toolbox, but nobody talked about we have to agree on what negotiation is and isn't. We have to agree on how to negotiate. Is it a chess game? Is it a tennis game? How do we want to negotiate? And last but not least, let me introduce the word negotiation economics. That's the 42% out here. Let me show you very quickly what that's all about. This is a real-life case. This is one of my clients who are manufacturing packaging. Now, this packaging company was meeting up with a procurement officer from one of the big retail chains in Europe. And what happened here was that the procurement officer, he said, we have an annual contract for $25 million, and we want a 9% price reduction of that contract. Why? That's a long story, not really important. So he was asking for a price reduction of $2,250,000. Now, how to react to that requirement when you are a supplier? You can say, no, I won't do it. You can say, yes, I'll give you that. That's concessional. That's stupid as well. Or you can do as our client did. He said, should we try and reopen the contract that is 6 years old to see if we could create negoeconomics? And thank God the procurement officer agreed to do that. So what they did, they sat down and they figured out there was the following variables in the contract. A variable is everything you can negotiate. And they noticed that delivery was 16 locations every second week. Warehouse was the responsibility of the supplier. Terms of payment was a line of credit of 65 days. Warranty was 3 years. Blitz size was fixed and haven't been changed for years as well. And everything was just in time. There was no long-term planning in orders. They agreed to be transparent and move this negotiation into smartnership. So what they realized is that if we change the lid size, we will capitalize negoeconomics, asymmetric value. If we change from just-in-time to planned bulk, we will create a mutual value. If we reduce the warranty period from 3 to 1 year, that will cost one side something, but will create a benefit to the counterpart. If we move the stock, the warehousing, to the buyer instead of the supplier, they can do it cheaper, so why would the supplier host that warehouse? If we reduce delivery from 16 locations to 1, and instead of delivering twice a month to once a month, we will generate an asymmetric value as well. And changing terms of payment from 65 days to line of credit to cash, we will create value as well. Guys, in less than a day, they created free value, which is necroeconomics, the 42%, of 4,198,000. Now, this was pre-AI, this story. If we had used AI here, this would have taken us 3 minutes. I'm not kidding you guys. One of the things I want you to leave with today is go back home and revisit every single commercial contract you have created the last 10 years and ask AI to run a negoeconomics evaluation of that contract. Use the word negoeconomics, AI knows it. Ask it to run that evaluation and you will get shocked. And they'll get happy because AI will identify so much potential value. Now guys, I don't want to kill you with a spreadsheet, but I'm doing it anyway, because what I'm just doing here is just breaking down those variables I just showed you, okay? Very quickly, I'm not getting into details, I'm just giving you one example. Negoeconomics is the difference between the cost and the benefit. So what you're seeing up here is that you had delivery time, 16 location down to 1 on the delivery. That will save the supplier 580,000, but will cost the customer 140, because now they have to do some internal transportation, right? But obviously the supplier is happy to compensate the customer because they're saving so much more. And that means we are leaving a room for negotiation, negoeconomics of 440,000. Do the math, that's how we end up at 4,198,000. That's why I call negotiation deal architecture, because this is architecture, guys. We are building wealth for both parties. Instead of sitting there discussing, I won't give you 9%, okay, then I want 7%, I can't do that, okay, let's end up at 8. Complete stupidity. That is something we would do 300 years ago, but why are we doing that in 2026? Let me just show you a study that we created. It was a peer-reviewed study that was published as a research paper, where we looked at negotiation with the use of AI and without. So we ran simulation globally. We did it 443 times. And we had negotiation traditionally human versus human. No use of AI. We had then negotiation where AI was sitting on one side, negotiating towards humans. And then we had people using AI towards humans. And then we had people using AI versus people using AI. Okay? So very quickly, what we learned is time available. So they had a certain amount of time, just like the simulation you saw here today. They had a certain amount of time to negotiate. And you can see human beings run out of time all the time. They never manage to reach a deal within the allocated time. When one side was using AI, they always managed just to reach a deal within the time limit. But when both sides were using AI, they were done way before time ran out. We're sitting in the bar and drinking a beer. Every single time. What we also learned, and now it gets really interesting, is preparation level was so much better when both parties were using AI. Look at that. The higher the bar goes up, the better preparation. So you can look at how better the preparation was in negotiation using AI on both sides. And now it gets really exciting, guys, because what we also found, value realization, the 42%. Look at that. Human versus human. I was basically sitting there crying. They were agreeing to a deal and left fortunes on the table. Look what happened the second both sides start using AI. They basically identified, capitalized, and utilized the value every single time. Now, you can't do that if you don't know what you're doing, so you have to be a skilled partnership negotiator. And the last thing I want to share with you as well is this one, because that was a big surprise to me. The two parties using AI, look at that, openness, transparency, honesty, and collaboration went through the roof. You know what? There are people coming to me saying, so what you're claiming is that AI helps people become more transparent, open, honest, and collaborative. And I have to say, yes, it seems so, because that's what research shows us. So AI actually supported collaboration in general. This is not my study. This is a study conducted by OpenAI. So, you could always question the data coming out of this, but I just want to show this to you very quickly. And they have focused specifically on procurement and negotiation. And they found the following, and I tend to agree. The second we use AI, we can actually match or exceed bias, human beings, by 40 to 48% of the time, so we can do it more efficiently or replace them half the time. The speed in conducting and preparing negotiation goes down from 6 to 7 hours to 2 hours, so that's a huge improvement. The cost of handling a contract-negotiation drops from $400 on average to $445. And last but not least, failures in negotiation. You know, a lot of people go around and say, well, I can't trust AI. It hallucinates all the time. Well, this research up here found that AI today is only hallucinating about 3% of the time. Then some people come to me and say, that's a lot. Well, think about it. How much do you and I as human beings hallucinate? I think we hallucinate more than 3% when we're doing our work, right? Where we just get a brain tumor and say something stupid. So AI is actually performing really well today. I think that's important. Guys, quick summary. Where can we use AI? Well, tell me where we can't use it. I basically use it today for preparation. You guys don't ever start any negotiation without having AI to help you prepare. It needs to help you prepare your strategy, zero-sum, partnership, smartnership. It can help you during negotiations. As Keld was pointing out earlier, every time you have a word, AI will do stuff better than you. So true. Emotions, it can actually happen, deal with emotions as well. A lot of people think that AI can't help you in emotions. Now, I have to be honest, guys. I have a bit of a temper, and my wife has a bit of a temper as well. It's not a good cocktail, but we've been married for a long time, so it works out. Anyway, we had a fight about 6-7 months ago. It happens frequently because, as I said, we have a temper. And in the middle of that fight, I was thinking, hey, I want to try this fight out on AI. So I called for a break, went into my office at home, and then I wrote into AI her condition, her feelings, my feelings, the whole thing, and it came up with the perfect recipe for the emotional side of what was happening. So I used the recommendation from AI, went back into my wife, and everything was smoothed out and done in less than 2 minutes. There you go. AI can perfectly handle emotions as well. Then we have simulation, guys. That's one thing you have to do. You have a wonderful tool to help you simulate negotiation. That you have to do. Promise me that. You have to simulate negotiation in AI before you step into the real negotiation. It's a perfect tool to do that. It can help you identify your next best alternative. So what is the alternative to the agreed deal? It can definitely help you in your communication. I bet you all of you are using this already to improve emails and contracting and what have you. And then obviously to review an existing deal. Okay? Now, what tool should you use? Well, here comes the complicated answer. All of them. There's not one tool that is superior in negotiation. It's a cocktail of the three of here. So it's Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude. One of them will not do the entire thing for you, so you need to know exactly which one at what time and how you should use that. So the perfect combination, as you can see, is divided into these boxes where they each have their superior knowledge and where they can support you in your negotiation. Now, guys, I'm going to leave you with what we call a difficult negotiation simulator prompt, because it's all about prompt. It's all about prompting and prompting engineering, obviously. So when I'm done with this one in 30 seconds, please take a photo of this slide and go home and try it out. You'll be really amazed. So what I'm having up here, what I'm writing is that you are a difficult negotiation simulator and a coach trained in partnership negotiation. Help me rehearse high-stake real-life conversation by role-playing the counterpart and coaching delivery, tone, and strategy in real time. So you continue writing this one saying, start by asking one question at a time. Who am I talking to? The issue, the outcome, fears, and setting. Focus on economics, opportunity, and how to improve trust and win the negotiation. Role play. Then suggest an opening line, phases to avoid, likely reactions, emotional landmines, and a simple conversation structure. Run a realistic role play, blah, 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 and so on. And the last thing down here, debrief. Introduce a few tough curveball, deflection, escalation, stonewalling, and so on. Take a picture of this one, guys. Go home and try it out for the next real negotiation you're getting into. Upload all the background you need, the information, whatever. You'll be shocked and impressed how well it can actually help you in negotiation. Guys, just before I finish up, please take a photo of this QR code as well. I have prepared a bunch of checklists for you, how you can actually use cheat sheets in negotiation. It's some of the highlights from my latest book, The Smart Negotiator, that is only a couple of months old. So these are the cheat sheets from that book as well, that you can use just to basically shortcut a lot of the prompting and how AI can help you more efficiently in negotiation. Now, how many of you know the golden rule in the Bible? Could you raise your hand? The golden rule in the Bible says what? Only do to others what you like others to do to you. I'm a big fan of that, and I always wrap up everything I'm doing by quoting the golden rule. Not because we have to be especially religious or Christian or whatever, and I actually have lots of people coming to me and say, well, I'm not a Christian, so I wouldn't apply the golden rule. So about 8 years ago, I sat down and looked at the biggest religions in the entire world. And you know what they're all doing? Saying the same thing. Now, they may quote it differently, but the sentence and the point of the message, it's always the same. Only do to others what you like others to do to you. Use that phrase in your negotiation, guys. If you don't want the counterpart to do something to you, you should not do it to the counterpart. That is a very strong recommendation I would advise you to use. So, 3 things I want you to take away from today's session. Review existing contracts. Ask AI to look into existing contract and looking for economics, and use it for simulations. Okay? Let me wrap up with a very brief animation showing what basically Smartnership is all about. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It was a pleasure.